Punisher, do you have any threes?
Go fish! So, nice of you to join us for once, Spidey.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was out saving the world.
Hey, loosen up, kids! I'm on fire!
Okay, I took the last week off. I didn't shoot any video, I didn't post anything, but somehow the toy scales always seem to balance themselves because there's about 572 action figures to talk about today. And we're going to talk about quite a few of them because I'm Robo. This here's the rewind. Let's kick off by swinging back around to last week's LooseCollector Executive Replicas Coffin Comics Legacy series tease. There it was pretty easy to guess the Lady Death variation, but the other character, I have no clue, or I had no clue. This week the camera backs up a bit and yep, that is definitely the Lady Death prototype they showed off a few years back. Like I mentioned, back then they had said something about the head, or well, the head from the first figure being a placeholder and that they were tweaking. And from the looks of this, the hair is different. So there is that. As for the mystery toy, turns out that is Wargoth of the Everkind. And yes, I did figure that out all on my own. I went to the Coffin Comics site, I scrolled covers until I found matching details. The axe, the necklace.
World's greatest detective.
No. The Batman segment is later. I seem to remember saying something to the effect of, man, Bandai is sure front-loading their S.H. Figuarts My Hero Academia line with all heroes. Because there was, of course, Midoriya, there was Bakugo, there was Todoroki, and then recently, Uraraka. To make up for that, Tamashii Nations posted this announcement this week saying, hey, there's villains on the way. That is, of course, Toga. There's no mistaking that silhouette. There is an amazing Yamaguchi version floating around, and her look doesn't drastically change over time from what I can tell, so hey, that's just options. Then that is Shigaraki. I had to do a little searching for that because I'm not familiar with, like I always say, I'm still behind with the series, so I'm not used to these looks yet. I have no context for this costume. My heart still lies with his first look with the creepy hands all over. And I need a good figure of that. Then the last is Dobby, and yes, I knew that even before they dropped the full solicitation for him. And it came fairly quick after the announcement. It's like, hey, we're gonna do villains right now, ha ha ha! And I think this is actually my first glance at this appearance, and I kinda like the bright white. It stands out. It's gonna draw eyes to him on the shelf amidst all the rest of the My Hero Academia figures. Plus the faceplates are packed with so much personality, and then those blue flames just pop in front of the color scheme. Oh, I wouldn't have guessed this, but man, I'm really liking it. It's kind of hard not to like with the blues and the whites. Who would have thought? The Four Horsemen also brought the newness with pre-orders opening up for their Infinite Legions series. Reading the blurb because it covers essentially everything you need to know, and I just love reading in that monotone voice where I'm gonna put you to sleep. Hold on. Infinite Legions is an idea that was born out of our desire to partner with other creators, artists, and friends, and to bring their characters to life using the Legions build system. While Mythic and Cosmic are our own original characters, and Figura Obscura delves into public domain characters, Infinite Legions allows us to explore other creators' worlds. These figures will not only feature the interchangeable approach to Legions compatible parts, but also the incredible sculptures, paint details, and packaging that Legions have become known for. Our first Infinite Legions releases come via a partnership with O'Neill Design, introducing Faden and Fanost. Faden and Fanost? I don't know. You always get me with the names. Essentially, other artists' ideas through the Four Horsemen Legion filter. I guess that is kind of essentially. Pow. I'm not familiar with Glyos, but there is a glimmer of recognition when I look at Faden, and that may be my favorite for absolutely no reason whatsoever. All right, it's blue, okay? I kind of like blue. Something blue. But it's not just that. I like the design too, and I realize that both figures reuse a whole hell of a lot of parts. But I don't know. It's the bulky belt. It's the pouches that I oh so love. The curves of the helmet compared to Fanost. There's nothing wrong with Fanost whatsoever. I like the contrast of colors. I like that pink brain head, but I'm gravitating towards fade-in. Both are awesome in a semi-clunky retro space guy kind of way. That's what I got. And look at this. As soon as the pre-orders for the Ultra Street Fighter 2 Vega go live, Jada Toys has to come along and start teasing their San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. I had to rely on the internet for this one. Well, I kind of knew that the red would be related to Dulcim, but I had no clue about the blue fire guy. And apparently that goes with M. Bison. That's fine, that's dandy, but then I found these images floating around the WWWs. I have no idea if these are real, but they do follow past patterns, which makes it easier for people to just mock things up because of how past exclusives were released. So, grain of salt. M. Bison is in a different color scheme with new effects and new head sculpts. But the cool thing about that is those new head sculpts are doubled up. There's an extra set of those same heads in the Player 1 colors, so you can take those and put them on the original release of M. Bison. Same goes for Dulcim. There's a Yoga Flame effect along with a Yoga Flame head sculpt where he's blowing the fire out, and there's extras to go back to the first release. I get that it sucks if you're only wanting the core cast in the core colors. If you buy the exclusive and have the first releases, you can have them fighting each other. Well, okay, you wouldn't have the Yoga Flames. You'd need two of those. But you have the smaller one going across and then the one blowing out. Yeah, it's neat. And it bypasses that, well, the Player 2 or whatever these color versions are, that you get the new head sculpts and the originals don't. Jada, thinks of everything. That's if these images are legit. Here's where we enter the good old Robo Don't Know territory. Robo Don't Know Diablo IV. So I have no other reason to talk about this McFarlane Toys Elite Edition Lilith other than, boy, that's a kick-ass looking action figure. Great looking soft goods over a fantastic sculpt, containing what I'm assuming is Todd's standard articulation scheme. There's a big demon head. Those wings are spectacular. Extra hands, extra face plates, a flight stand, and then I had to go description diving to find out what the sheet thing is. Those are apparently rose petals that you can pop off yourself and then lay on the ground underneath a floating Lilith. Because something Diablo 4. And it seems this is a thing because it's sold out on Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth. I have the link to GameStop below, but pre-orders are also still open on Walmart and McFarlane's Toy Store. Not McFarlane's Toy Store, it's McFarlane Toys Store. I put the S in the wrong place. I remember Lilith from Toy Fair, but no pictures were allowed. I think our first glance at it publicly was an IGN live stream this week where they also showed off the Fallout power suit. Is that what it's called? Again, Robo don't know Fallout. Robo likes big armored characters though, and that's what this looks like. That I can grab this, use it for something else. Paint it up, change heads, custom fodder. That's all I got about that. That's the only look we've had so far. So I'm sure a big, extravagant debut reveal thing will happen soon. Maybe San Diego. Who knows? Oh, but that's not all for McFarlane Toys this week. You know better. There was a McFarlane Toys show where they dropped a ton of DC Multiverse reveals. Well, I say reveals, I think we saw most of these in render form at one point or another. It's just nice to see them in 3D form, in prototype form. I'm not familiar with the Merciless, and I only know Batman Who Laughs from previous action figures, but this looks pretty good. At least it's a different look for Batman Who Laughs. I like the sleeker kind of leather look. And then, again, a big armored character. Maybe. For page punchers, there is Superboy without the leather jacket, adding to the Superman group that they've been building over the past few months, years, mostly the past few months. There's also first appearance Wonder Woman, and I really like this. Now, of course, I like her standard iconic look with the armor and such, but the skirt just does something. Not like that. Stop. Get your mind out of the gutter. I'm just saying, it breaks the silhouette. It adds something to the overall costume and the feel. And the classicness, the retro. But why do I like this Steve Trevor so much? It's just dude in uniform, but it's a good looking figure. It's got some bulk to it. The greens are really nice. The hat, I think I want this just for parts and pieces. On the Fidgetal side of things, there is Stephanie Brown Batgirl. I don't know this look, but I like the purples, I like the blacks. It's just another Batman costume, or Batgirl costume, Bat type. And it's hard to go wrong with those. You saw me staring off to the side, right? That was me going through my brain of all my mental images of Bat family costumes. And I'm sure there's a bad one here and there, but for the most part, yeah, okay. No Man's Land Batman is just another take on the blues and grays with the yellow oval, and there's nothing wrong with that. The ears are a little long for my taste. I'm a short ear kind of guy, and remember that because there's another Batman on the way that's even whoop, but I don't know. This also has a classic top feel to it. Monarch is amazing. It's one of those characters that I don't mind being a little bigger, so I can take this and shove it into older displays, other scale DC lines. But at the same time, I may need another one because it looks like good custom fodder. Maybe I need something with some shoulder pads and some bulky boots. Remember way back when I was talking about questionable Bat family costumes, how most of them are good and there's only a few bad ones here and there? Here's another one of those good ones. Disco Nightwing is amazing. The light blues, the yellow, the kind of extra lines for no reason, the collar, it all works. The mask, the hair. This is beautiful. Delving into gold label Target exclusives, at least I'm assuming gold label, they said Target exclusive, and that's usually the case. You started with Mr. Miracle. A lot of reuse going on here. You recognize the cape, you recognize the body, but I like the smiling face. I've always liked Mr. Miracle's colors, the greens, the reds, but more than that, McFarlane, Todd, come here. You make Mr. Miracle. Can we get a big Barda? Just think, it's McFarlane Toys. It's 7-inch scale. It's Big Barda, who is supposed to be big. Now, she may be larger than Mental Image, standing next to, say, a DC Universe Classics Mr. Miracle, or 1/12 scale of some kind. But, Mattel screwballed the original Big Barda so bad that I wouldn't even mind. I just want a big, it's in the name, Big Barda. Come on now. This Sandman is wonderful though. It's been a while since I've read JSA, so I'm rusty. I see things and it brings back memories, but man, this Sandman, you look good. I know again, it's a bunch of reused parts, but the Sandman flavor added to it. For standard releases, there is Night Quest Azrael, and I've lost track of how many Azraels we've gotten. I recognize the claws on the back, the big plastic cape wing parts that look amazing on the figure, but I don't remember. Did we get a red and black? We got a blue, didn't we? I should probably research this before I start opening my mouth, but I can only do that so much an episode, and I did it earlier. Batwing 2.0. I didn't know who Batwing 1.0 was. I just assumed, oh, it's a bat type character with wings. And going by 2.0, that is exactly the case. I do like the blast effect in the back. They said it was removable, but if you have it standing on the shelf, you can leave that in all the time. And then you go to do some dynamic poses, some photography, there you go. Batman Troika. We've already established that I'm not a long-eared Batman kind of guy. And this takes it way past my own threshold. Plus the added spikes to the boots. Can you imagine getting in and out of the car? Well, I mean, it's the same here. You have these blades, you're doing something, eating maybe, tearing up the table, steering wheel, armrest in the car. So yeah, it's comic books. It works. It's fine for people who are into this look. For me, it made me think too much. Collector editions. There is a new Beast Boy, the Beast Boy to get. He's shown with a snake and a rat, I believe it is, and then a piece of pizza. And if that wasn't enough, they said there is a third animal form that they're not showing. So maybe it's something big or maybe it's something small. To fit in the package, it's probably something small, huh? They did quickly mention that this is a UCC exclusive, and I had never heard of a UCC con. Quickly searching, All I can come up with is UCC Distributing. They usually have a booth at San Diego Comic-Con that is filled with exclusives. So I'm assuming this is that. I've been to San Diego many a year and I don't remember this booth whatsoever. It says over on like 1100, 1200, 1300, go to the back wall. And I can't picture. Nope, I don't know. Hopefully it's easy to get because that's a good Beast Boy. But I like Mirror Master even better. I think it's the pose, but this looks tough as hell. And that's weird saying that about Mirror Master, but that hunch, that kick with the two blasters, dual wielding, dang, I need Mirror Master too. Metron with chair feels very collector edition. That chair is gonna take a, well, okay, it's not as big as I usually picture it, but it's larger than like Luthor's chair, whatever throne thing he had a few years back in the DC Multiverse line. Plus I always like the contrast of Metron being the light blues against the greens of the chair. Color scheme works, the design works. And then finally there is classic Deathstroke. Do I need to elaborate further? The blues, the orange, the pirate boots and gloves. It's so Deathstrokey. Not enough Batman for you? Well, Mezco has you covered because they put up the pre-order for their 1/12 collective Batman the Animated Series Batman this week. This is one of those that catches my eye and I don't know why, because as everyone knows, I've never watched Batman the Animated Series. Boo! Boo this man! No, seriously! Boo this man! Go away. On top of that, the good Lord and Todd knows that there aren't near enough Batmans out there, so why not another? But there's not a 90s cartoon style soft goods covered Batman out there, so Mezco is filling that hole. Well, now that I say that out loud, why do I feel like there is already a 90s cartoon styled soft goods covered Batman? I don't know all the Batmans in the world, third party, licensed, and everything. So this is Mezco's 1/12 collective, specifically 90s cartoon styled soft goods covered Batman. It is kind of weird to see fabric texture on a design that is iconic in its simplicity, but you quickly get over that because Mezco 1/12 collective. I had that same feeling when I saw the promotional images for their Space Ghost. And then I got it in hand and it didn't bother me nearly as much. And I even got the glow-in-the-dark extra ribbing for her pleasure version. Ew. The build is good, the accessories are awesome, and it'll be even better when they eventually release the Mezco 1/12 collective Batman the Animated Series Joker that they both teased and showed in these images. So hopefully that'll be soon. Where there's a lot of Batmans, so must there be an abundance of Spider-Mans or Marvel Spider-related product. This is where we get into the eternal upgrade ladder when it comes to the Spider folk, because when it comes to Spider-Punk, we've had Marvel Legends, we've had S.H. Figuarts. Hell, I think we had Marvel Legends twice. Was it Marvel Legends, then S.H. Figuarts, and then Marvel Legends came back around to rectify the fact that they didn't give the first version an unmasked head, but they gave in a version like kind of like Jada Toys with the P2 colors of Spider-Punk, but with a P1 head to go back. It's come time for Sentinel to throw their hat in the ring with their SV action across the Spider-Verse Spider-Punk. And it looks fantastic. Does it look better than the other two versions? That's a hard thing to tell. It depends on your own personal priorities. Maybe you focus on price point. Maybe it's sculpt, maybe it's articulation, maybe it's number of accessories, maybe it's company loyalty. I just know that the Sentinel SV Action Peter B. Parker is my favorite Spider-Man out of all of those versions of that Spider-Man. So I gotta think this is good too. It also doesn't hurt that I don't have a Spider-Punk yet, so maybe I'll lean into this one and call it good. But I can also say the same about Noir and SP_DR. And Sentinel has a fantastic looking group shot on their site that gives them all together. Maybe this is the way to go. Speaking of, that brings us to the Flame Toys Techkaiser SPDR, but not the Spider-Verse version. This goes straight for the comic books. We did get this as a Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure, but that was kind of clunky and chunky. This looks much more streamlined and agile. But then again, it better be for $200. It is 8 inches tall. It's got a ton of articulation. It's got some nice metal finish. It contains die cast and it also has LEDs. So the price... I just described YOLO Park G1 Transformers AMK Pro Series, didn't I? And those run 60, 65? I usually think of models when it comes to Flame Toys because that's my only exposure is to the Transformers kits. But this is full-on action figure. They're boasting the highest of quality. Again, $200. But once again, that's up to you. Maybe it feels like a $200 action figure. And if it does, here you go. It does look like a lean, mean, web-swinging machine. So it's tempting, but there's some soul searching to be done. But moving to actual model kits, Fondjoy posted up a couple of new Spider-Man offerings this week. I don't think we've ever discussed Fondjoy before. I didn't know much at all. Robo don't know Fondjoy, how's that? I'm gonna be mostly talking out of my ass, which isn't different from any other week, but these scrolled across my screen and I was intrigued. As in, I don't see myself getting these, but it's neat to see how different companies do model kits when it comes to action figure shapes, forms. And after searching, I found that Fondjoy has done 1/12 scale Marvel model kits before, like Thanos and some Avengers and Deadpool. And the more I looked, the more I realized they are very model kit looking. Take this new cinematic Holland Spider-Man. It has all the details, it has the proper shape, but it doesn't have the black web lines, which is usually something you have to paint yourself when it comes to the model kits. Now I said proper shape, but once they got into poses, there's a stiffness that you can see. There's no flex to it. It looks okay overall, but I don't really need another Holland Spider-Man. All the toy companies have already put their best foot forward when it comes to this look. Comic book Venom, on the other hand, is a bit more appealing to me. Don't get me wrong, same gripes. It's got a blocky brickiness to it, but all the black does its best to compensate for that. There's some little cuts and breaks in the logo because it is separate pieces being plugged in, and it was noticeable, but it doesn't really bother me. The accessories shine though. The stabby hand blade parts, the goo that you can wrap around places, the head on a tendril coming around, I always love, that's just fun. Plus I just love a good black and white costume, and Venom is one of the best, probably right behind Symbiote Spider-Man, which is the same costume, just different size. But when it comes down to it, I don't think I need another Venom because I just pre-ordered the Hasbro Marvel Legends Gamerverse Captain America and Venom 2-pack. But again, not so much to keep Venom as Venom. This is the perfect base for a custom I have planned. And sometimes, for me, that takes priority. But I'm getting more and more and more excited every time I see Cap because that just harkens back to my heyday of comic book reading. I love the scale mail on Captain America. It adds to the overall costume, that armored look. But if I really think about it, when I was reading Captain America the most, it was just a skin-tight costume. So here it is. I need another Captain America. But that's not the big Marvel Legends news this week. Oh no. Hasbro randomly dropped their San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Savage Lands set on us, and there's good news and there's bad news. Good news is here's that Shanna the She-Devil that they showed us a while back, and it's looking nice in actual figure form. And just as some predicted and hoped for, her body is already getting reused within the same set for a Savage Land Rogue. For me, that's the low point of the pack. I never felt a mighty need for this look for Rogue. So it's just like, well, okay. There's that for you. If you wanted her, ba-boom! We of course have a mental image of this appearance in the comics, so seeing this head, there's something off. Maybe it's the hair. I keep thinking there's ears popping up. Maybe it's my eternal want for a Hepzibah, but the curls sticking out, the facial expression, the heavy makeup, there's just something that doesn't vibe with the body itself. The first bit of bad news for some is the third figure in this set is a reissued Sauron. I keep saying Sauron. You've messed me up, Lord of the Rings. Speaking for myself, which is all I can do, I kind of like the repaint and the added accessories here. It's the same figure, but I prefer the richer greens and the harsher fade and shade work. The purple loincloth pops though, and looking at that, they did remove the pouches from the original release. I think that's the big change besides the color scheme. But my favorite is the hypnotic eyes and effect pieces. I'd forgotten he had those powers until just now, and then it was just like the Build-A-Figure is now a realistic take. This is much more comic booky, and I think I need this to replace that. But the other bit of bad news is that this is the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. There goes my dream of getting multiple Shannas, because it's a nice skin tone body. And in years past, I would say that makes it hard for people not attending the con to get. Well, in years past, it's been hard for people at the con to get. I've been standing outside going, hey, can I get in? No? Okay. But then going back to last year, it was fairly easy to get at the con. They put it on Pulse afterwards, and actually Death's Head is still available in several places. So hopefully this is like that, and not like a decade ago. It was like, oh, missed it. Sticking with Hasbro, there was supposed to be a G.I. Joe classified. That's proper. That's fitting. Hear the frog? It's been raining, hence the shirt. But before I go outside and throw a rock or something, this is what we heard Thursday or Wednesday instead of the Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series fan stream that was scheduled. They don't know why, but that didn't stop the pre-orders from going live later that day. For Retro Series, there is the classic bat and green shirt, just army building troopers. Just throw them in, change up some parts, and you can just flank all your named good guys and bad guys. We already knew about the Sergeant Slaughter and Mercer 2-pack, and I guess I didn't realize how much they were packed out with. This is a lot of stuff to come with one large figure and one regular size figure. And then Crankcase and the Ostriker is a Pulse exclusive. Last time I looked, it was still available for pre-order, but seeing the pictures, it's a lot more elaborate. Well, okay, during the last live stream, they pulled panels, showed things, this pops off, this goes on. You can fit 3 characters. I think they said something about the roll cage coming off and everything, but if you look at the picture on the front of the package and zoom in, there's one that is completely convertible. So, options. If you're interested in these and anything else I've talked about, the links are in the description. They're always in the description. I feel like I'm just repeating myself over and over every week whenever I say that, but go down, clicky clicky. And hey, while we're on Hasbro Pulse, there's actually some Ghostbusters Plasma Series news. Well, a little bit. We've seen the boys themselves before. The Plasma Series debuted in 2020 and gave us Zedmore, Stantz, Venkman, and Spangler right off the bat, along with Dana and Gozer. While slightly smaller than actual 1/12 scale, they look short next to Star Wars Black Series. I still find that I like these the most. These are the Ghostbusters in my display. Then there was a glow-in-the-dark slimed set. That was followed by old man versions from Afterlife along with a Ghost Egon in a 2-pack. Then, of course, there was last year's Ectomobile HasLab with the crew in their Ghostbusters 2 costumes, or uniforms, I should say. That brings us to this week, where Hasbro posted up their Pulse exclusive rooftop set, which is great for anybody who skipped all the previous releases. There is some payoff for the patience though. This set comes with 4 proton streams. I know that's an odd call out, but the original wave only had 1 that came with Winston, and then the rest came with their tools that are also included in this rooftop set. The glow-in-the-dark slime versions did have 4 streams, but that was green to match the slime on the costumes. And then of course the HasLab came with 4 streams, but you were also paying for a car and Slimer and Ghosts and more accessories and swap out parts for the car. Maybe you just wanted the core team and essential accessories. All of that, including the bodies, are reused, but there are new heads. Running down the line again, Wave 1 had them in kind of smiling, jokey looks. The HasLab set had their second movie likenesses. For this new set, they're all determined, ready to take down Gozer. I think if I didn't have that first wave, I would jump on this, although I will say Peter's resemblance is a bit off. Well, okay, it's always been off. That first wave was kind of cartoony, and then the second version got a bit more serious. This, it kind of takes away all the Bill Murray-isms from the sculpt. But it's also a digital render, so it'd be nifty to see this in actual prototype form. That usually changes my mind a little bit. Maybe at San Diego, since this isn't due out until next March. I guess they're waiting until after the HasLab comes out. It's Friday as I'm recording this, so right before I walked out here, Hasbro had their Star Wars fan stream. And there is some Black Series news. It's a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive reveal kind of week because they started off with the Revenge of the Sith Anakin versus Obi-Wan set. Well, 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 boys, you finally did it. You updated Anakin and Obi-Wan. After we just got Clone Wars versions and armored up and everything. But that's okay. That's okay. I'll take it for now. They talked about the pliability of the overlays and the butterflies and how much movement you can get out of the legs and arms and the likenesses. It all looks good. Oh, but they kept the reveals coming because both figures also come with force hands. So you can, they both come with multiple lightsaber effects with varying degrees of swooshiness. There's a clashing effect for when the lightsabers touch. Stop. But then they broke out the floaty base. And I've never had a floaty base in Black Series before. I think I need that floaty base. But it's not just the floaty base. It's also the floaty droid that Anakin comes floating in on. So really, this is a 3-pack, right? Anakin, Obi-Wan, droid. They started talking about the package and I thought, oh, that's it. Look at the size of that box. How the hell am I going to get that home from San Diego Comic-Con if I am able to buy it there? But then they started moving it and I noticed alternate heads. And that's when they pointed out, oh, it also comes with alternate heads too. Anakin's got the Sith eyes. Obi-Wan looks disheveled. They've both been in a fight. That is great. That's options. And if I got this, that's also heads to go on to older figures to spruce those up. Is this gonna be my carry-on? Now I'll do what I usually do. Open it at the hotel room, discard trash and underwear and socks, probably a shirt or two, and hopefully fill the backpack with toys. Collider.com confirmed the price on this is $109, which, okay, 25, carry the knot. Droid, another 25, floaty base, 25, $9 for the exclusive box, the sleeve that goes over it. Okay, I can see that. That would have been enough for me, but then they went to the next fan channel wave, starting with Ronin. And no, it's mostly the Star Wars Celebration exclusive version, but it has paints on it instead of it being grayscale, and they swapped out the soft goods robe for plastic, a very pliable plastic. I'm really liking that. We saw it with a couple of the recent Jedi where it's almost like rubber. It gets up and out of the way. Then they hit us with the Jedi Temple Guard and that looks great. The whites, the golds, holy moly. The yellow blades for the lightsaber also stands out really nicely. It's just a nice looking figure. What else can I say? Because then next is Barisafi, and hey, I was just talking about the recent Jedi, the Shakti, the Luminara, and here's another one. Go with the oh man, keep building, keep giving us these. This is awesome. Like I said, fan channel pre-orders go live June 16th. Then they said holiday items, and I didn't expect much here. I like the holidays, Halloween, Christmas versions of characters that they've put out in the past, but they've always been just kind of slight reworks or repaints, ugly sweater, troopers and such. But then they hit it with, look at the Wicked Witch. It took me a minute to even realize it was Asajj Ventress until I saw the, the rubbery hanging down piece. But the greens and the blacks and the hat and the broom, okay, this works. More of this. And I know a lot of people look at these and go, what a waste of effort and time and plastic. But these aren't for you. This is easy reuse. These are way, way better than carbonized or holocom or credit collection. Those have their places, but this is imaginative. This sparks something. This makes me want to get it and put it out on display during those holidays. Because look at this Royal Guard Ghost. This works way better than it has any reason to. Plus, it's a Royal Guard in bright white. Unless it's dark, then it's glow green. That doesn't work. Sorry, that's not part of the song. Same goes for the Night Trooper Mummy. The soft goods do so much to change things up. It hides those familiar parts and pieces. Like I said, previous versions have been mostly just repaints, and you go, oh, okay, it's just some printing, some color. This made me go, wait, what base figure are they using? Oh, okay. It's got sculpted wraps and it's got other wraps on top. And again, this is just fun. Look how much fun you could be having with your toys. Unfortunately, they may be harder to get. Well, okay. I don't see them selling out because, like I said, a lot of people don't care for this. But the Wicked Witch is Amazon and Fan Channel. The Royal Guard Ghost is Target. And then the Night Trooper Mummy is Walmart. No pre-orders just yet. I'm sure they'll pop up at random times, early one morning or late one night somewhere. We'll see. I know it's odd not to end with Star Wars, but the thing that surprised me most this week is the Keepgoing Studio human muscle model. Now, right off the bat, I was like, hey, you can see the muscles. I'm not a medical student of any kind. I do not know if these are anatomically correct or physiologically accurate. I just know that it looks neato. And yes, it took several times for physiologically accurate to come out of my southern mouth properly. Yep, physiologically accurate. I speak real good. So yeah, Skinless caught my attention, but then my action figure brain kicked in and I started noticing the articulation points and how it seems to all work together. First, the hip cups. On any other figure, I would probably go, well, that's ugly. Like S.H. Figuarts' variation on that same point. Here, it's not bad looking because the figure itself is slabs of meat put together, not a skin-tight superhero suit. It's not breaking anything up when it rotates back to get out of the way of the leg coming up and covering gap at the same time. I'm thinking that extra ab piece is the same. Hunker down, and that shifts back so the chest piece can come down, touch the abs, and then the ball at the waist can kick on even further while that center piece comes back here, closes the gap that we usually see with a crunch of some kind. It's all demonstrated right here with the toe touching that a lot of figures cannot do. Then if you want to get all artistic with it, there's also a grayscale version to make it more presentable on your mantle or living room table. But then there's this, and it freaks me out a bit. Sure, we're talking about a character with all its meat showing, but there's just something about bulging eyes and gritting teeth that makes me feel like he's in pain. You know, there's some emotion going on. I don't know. It's odd and I don't need it. But I love it and really, really want it, especially for $41. And that's all I got for this week. All I've got. I've been recording for an hour and 22 minutes, so we'll see how the final runtime on this rewind is. As always, special thanks to the Nobots and the Nobodies, the Patreon and the channel members. Again, I apologize for having nothing go up this week, but man, after Memphis last week, I was wiped, and then I had some things to do, had to get things done, and we're back. Hopefully, back on schedule for the rest of the summer. I was so tired and busy that I didn't get any of the customs even start. Well, okay, I got a body underneath a couple of the heads that I got, but other than that, I haven't even had time to come out and mess around in the shop, see what's going on. But after a week of not coming out here, I can look around and go, man, look at that cool stuff and that cool stuff, and I need to get to that cool stuff. I did get some things in the mail that I need to break out. Oh! Two things I did get. I got the LooseCollector Burning Hammer. The first two figures, he put both figures in here to save on shipping. I just want the figures anyway. And then I got the Bandai S.H. Figuarts Beetlejuice from Nin Nin Game. And that was kind of a ordeal. When it came into stock, they emailed me and said, the shipping method I selected is no longer available, which was DHL or FedEx. I guess they weren't shipping at that exact moment, or they had shut down for that region. So they wanted me to either keep it in their warehouse or switch to EMS. Is that what it is? The slower version? So I was like, well, okay, it's not like I'm in a super hurry, so swap it to the slower option. Then they hit me with a $5 bill. Somehow that was more expensive than DHL or FedEx that I had already paid for. And then, as Robo Luck goes, it was just a couple of days later after it shipped out that they announced that FedEx and DHL, or whichever one, was back shipping. Thankfully, I think the only other import I have on pre-order right now, the only two that I can think of, is the Medicom Mayfex Hush Robin, and then of course the S.H. Figuarts General Grievous. But at least that's later in the year. So I'm gonna go. I've rambled long enough about toys. So I'm going to try to, there's a break in the storm. I'm going to try to run across, avoid frogs and snakes, get in the house, edit this up, have some fun. And as always, that's what you should do this weekend. Have some fun, buy some toys, play a little. Bye.